What's up, folks? How y'all doing today? Hope everybody's doing great this evening. Me, I'm doing all right. I'm doing as good as I can do, sitting here at the house doing nothing. About tired of it. Figure most of y'all are. I know I am. Don't know how much more I can handle. I want to talk about Joe Biden today. You know, our presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. Old Joe, I'll be honest with you. I don't even really know where to start. So, I guess we'll try to do the best we can by going chronological. We're going to back this thing up a little bit. Old Joe, he went to college. And when he got out, he went into politics and did his little thing. And he got interviewed and told the world that, well, he graduated with 3 degrees and the top of his class. Back then, mainstream media, you know, they were legit. They went out and they investigated. They found the hard story. And they called him out on it. Old Joe, he didn't graduate with 3 degrees. Didn't graduate with the top of his class. And when they confronted him on it, he said, "Oh, I forgot." How do you forget where you graduated in your class? How do you forget how many degrees you have? I mean, that would be something, I don't know, a guy with 60, 70, 80 degrees would say, not a guy with 3. Old Joe, back in those days, used to like to get on stage and quote out some speeches. Used to throw the speeches out and do a good job with it. Yeah, he did a good job because they were written by somebody else. They were written for somebody else. They were spoken by other people. Even recited one from John F. Kennedy. It's called perjury. Oh, Joe. Did you know that Joe spoke out against desegregation? Did you know that he spoke out on numerous occasions trying to keep the whites separate from the blacks? Couldn't have that. So that's a true Democratic Party. That's the history they're based on. Good old Joe. Good old Joe. Pretty sure by now you've seen all the videos of how he can't seem to keep his hands off of people, especially little kids. Little girls. Now, I get it. I get it. You know, but have you watched the expression on some of these kids' face? They didn't like being handled. But a good old Joe, he just kept doing it. Some bitch touched my kid like that, I don't give a frig where we were standing. I'd break him down into 20 friggin' pieces. Congressman, vice president, representative, mayor, I don't care. Touch my kid like that. Touch any kid like that with me standing around. And me see that kid cringe. You guaranteed I will step up and I will defend that child. Because that child ain't old enough to defend themselves. Joe Biden. I want to know what you think about Quid Pro Joe. Sitting there and pointing at his little wrist and telling him, said, yeah, I told them that said if they didn't fire that investigator, they weren't getting $1 billion. That money wasn't going to come. He told them what he was going to do with the money that we said they could have. He dictated on his terms. Oh, I know, y'all gonna tell me the president backed him, that's what the president wanted, that Shokin was a bad guy, and that Shokin did all this and everything like that. Yeah, okay. So explain the phone call that came out later about how the president of the Ukraine sat right there on the phone and said plain, simple words. We cannot find anything wrong with Shokin, but we fired him. We put the man in place that you wanted. Now, can we have our $1 billion, please? Interesting. Interesting. But see, that's a small fragment of a bigger picture. Because not only did he fire Shokin, but he fired Shokin for a company, Burisma, that his son was working on. His son sat on the board. Oh, wow, I wish my son would sit on the board of the Ukraine or someplace. That'd be cool. You know, he went to college. You know, oh, wait a minute. He went in the Navy. Oh, wait a minute, that's right. He also got kicked out of the Navy because he couldn't quit using drugs. Oh, wait a minute, that's right. He also used to frequent a club where everybody sold him out on how he used to come there and hang out and do drugs. Oh, wait a minute, that's right. He was pulled over by a cop and they found drug paraphernalia in the vehicle. Oh, okay, well, I ain't gonna condemn the man. He did some drugs. How do you sit on the board of a multi-million-dollar business, billion-dollar business? How do you get paid bukus of money when you don't know nothing about gas, you don't speak the language, you don't know nothing about Ukraine, you don't know nothing about running a business? How does the company that you and your buddy back home that was failing and falling apart all of a sudden have millions of dollars? It's called laundering money. Oh, you perform a service for me, so here's the money. But you don't have to perform the service. But there's nothing there. There's nothing there to the fact that Joe Biden's brother had a contracting company that he was working for, and somehow miraculously right after he got the job with this contracting company, that contracting company turned around and got a multi-million-dollar contract with the United States government. White privilege, there ain't much left. Joe Biden done used it all up on his family. Joe Biden. This man believes because you're black that you have to vote Democrat, or you're not black. And see, the running joke with that is that you can count on the black vote for the Democratic Party. So they don't even look at you as a person. They look at you as a vote on voting day. And they honestly believe that. They honestly believe that you're going to vote just because your family has voted Democrat. And that's another video. That's another video that I'm sure as well going to talk about. But right now we're talking about Joe Biden. We're talking about all the deliria and lost mind and loss of thought and the inability to remember things. So I ain't no lawyer. I ain't no politician. I'm a plain old everyday electrician, construction worker. I get out my hands and I bust my butt and I do what I got to do to take care of me and mine. But Joe, he's supposed to remember these things. He's supposed to know the Constitution of the United States of America. He's supposed to know the Bill of Rights and all the amendments that they're followed after. He's supposed to know all the laws and regulations and rules that come along with it, because that's what makes a good president. This guy can't even remember his wife from his sister. This guy makes mistakes. I'm going to give him a break on the wife from sister thing, because the left and right can get confusing when you're on stage. But see, that's only one of a whole lot of little things that come out from good old Joe Biden. Joe Biden. This man wants to be our president. If one of your elderly parents was having the problems they have, would you give them the keys to the house? Would you leave him at home alone? Would you give him control of all the finances? But they're trying to get us to vote for this guy and pretend like we don't see the fact that he wants to talk about his hairy legs and how they're blonde and how the little kids rubbed on him. That's a little messed up. But we'll leave that for another day too. See, good old Joe, he got a lot of issues. But the problem with the whole situation is, and the one that gets me, is I don't understand why. Why they are so wanting this man to be their candidate. They know he's got problems. Do you really want a man that's afraid to come out of his basement and come out and face the world? He's hiding at home. Hiding at home, putting his little mask on, doing the little thing, making sure he don't get the bug that has no name on social media. Is that the strength you want? Is that the man that you believe can lead us through this country? Joe Biden. Y'all realize he's nothing but a puppet, right? He's a little puppet. Strings that can be pulled by those who really have control. Hillary Clinton. Joe Biden. This man's not worthy of being our president. This man's not worthy of standing for us and talking for us. And this whole time, as being a politician, he has done nothing that has changed or benefited or done anything of any great importance for America, even as a vice president. In the scandalous-free 8 years, Fast and Furious, with Obama. This man ain't worthy. So I'm going to call it on this, and I'm going to let you know one thing. If you're voting for Joe Biden, you're giving Grandpa the keys to the house. If you're voting for Joe Biden and he forgets the difference between flushing the toilet and pushing the football button that makes the whole world go kaboom. If you're voting for Joe Biden and you don't have no weapons because they come in your house and they take them all. If you're voting for Joe Biden and you find yourself in the middle of World War III, or you have no rights, or you go to the store and you can't even buy toilet paper, it happens. Remember, you voted him in. You chose. I'll leave on this last note. History is bound to repeat itself if we forget it. When a king took over Egypt, one of the first things they did when they became king was to destroy all of the idols of the previous kings, so nobody would look back. If you go and you destroy our past, if you tried to hide the fact that every statue and monument that sits in the South or represents the South was signed to be built by the Democratic Party, then you remember they're erasing their past so you can't throw it back on them. If you're going to tear down the statues, if you're going to change the names of our military base because of their connection to the South, then I suggest that you take and you change the name of every state in the South, every city in the South, because they stood for slavery too. And while you're at it, we'll forget about it. But I promise you, nobody will ever forget about it, because it was the most horrific thing that has ever happened in the United States. We got 2 marks on us. 2 marks on us. The way we treated the Native Americans and the way we treated the blacks that was brought to this country. And probably 3 if you want to talk about the Asians, but that's a whole nother story. We ain't getting rid of it by fucking tearing down our monuments. We need to remember that shit. We need to remember it just like anything. We can't forget it, because if we forget it, we might do it again. In my opinion, there ain't but two people in this world. Those with money and those without. Those with money are trying to dictate our lives. Let me tell you something. Those without outnumber you. Your military, your police, the people that feed you, the people that take care of you, the people that fix your car, the people that mow your yard, the people that clean you, even the people that bodyguard you are the commoners. You made yourself rich, but we are watching. We are sitting everywhere across this country and we're watching. We're learning and we're speaking out. Love for George Floyd and his family. Hope they may find peace. Love for the cops across this country who's been caught up in the midst of all this chaos. Love for all those families that have lost police officers. My heart goes out to you. It's time we come together. It's time we realize what the true thing is. And the truth is there's those of us without, and there's those of us with. And those of us right now that are with should not be having the money or the stature that they have. If they live in the way they live off of $100 million, I want to know how they did it off of the incomes they get. Don't vote Joe Biden. Peace out and love. May all my brothers and sisters across the United States of all races, of all religions, of all sexual orientations, of anything that is different, be happy, find peace within yourself, and remember, I got love for you, and I'm always here for you. Good night, America.